Hello there, and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. I am here to assist you in your life's journey. And hi, Veronica. I'm glad you're here, and welcome to anybody else who's coming in. I am here to talk today about chaos. Oh my gosh. And I have been living it myself, and I hope that nobody else is living it, but it seems like a lot of people are living it. So with that, it's like it seems like right now it's like there's one thing that's piling onto another, onto another, onto another, onto another. And it's like, how can you just negotiate it? And I know that like this last weekend, my friends, I've been doing my front room. You can see that on my videos that I've been doing. And, it's like, oh gosh, I think I finally got it settled to where there's only a little bit of shifting and changing I need to do now. It's amazing when you do that. But then at the same time, it's like in the middle of that, I decided to have a garage sale. And if anybody knows what it's like to get into a garage sale, it's not the easiest to negotiate. And I had other people who came in and did it with me, so there was like 5, 6, 7 people that were doing it with us, a collection of things, and then there's that chaos, and then, at the same time, things were happening. And I know that, like, for me, we're all putting in those extra hours. And, those people, they had jobs that they had to be in, and then they came and did it with us. And, it's like there's all of this different stuff. And you can tell in my voice that, and the way I'm talking, it's like I'm putting that energy of chaos out there, right? That chaoticness out there. And, but that's the thing is that when you are in chaos, when you are in one thing after another, and everything kind of comes on, and everything is doing things for you, and everything is moving forward, and we're all in the midst of doing life, that, I, my girlfriend actually moved. And what is more chaotic than moving your house? Right. And luckily she wasn't moving to another state. So when you're moving or when you're doing these things in layers, and God, my bangs are like really struggling with me today. Natural wave. What do you do with it? Right. Talk about chaos. That, it's one thing that, I, even with my ADHD brain, that's chaotic. My dyslexic ADHD brain, and I know a lot of women. I don't know one woman. Sorry, I had something in my tooth. I don't know one woman who doesn't have a form of ADHD, right? Because we all have these things that we got to do. When we're younger, we're multitasking about, putting things in. And then when we have marriage, then we're all thinking about that. And then when we have kids, it's like one thing onto another. You're thinking about breakfast, how do you get the kids out of the house? And then, and then making the husband happy, or whatever relationship you're having, that happy. And then if you're single, you got even more responsibilities on you. And then, it's like that is pure chaos. It's sometimes just getting out of the house is chaotic. But the one thing that we can do in those chaotic times, and this is one thing that I really practice doing, is that I would stop. I would stop for, even if it was just 20 seconds, I would stop and take a look around me. When you stop for those moments, it gets you off the treadmill. And that's the thing about chaos. It likes to put you on a treadmill. It likes to have you be where you are. And that helps you just to keep motivated. It helps you do the negotiations. It helps you do these things. And, it's one of those things that, we keep going forward and we keep going forward. And like when I'm playing my video games, my phone games, right? And all of a sudden it says a hard game. And I instantly want to say, it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be any different. But the label, that label of things that we have to do, right? That label that we put on, oh God, I got to get the kids out of the house. And well, if you're thinking about things are going to be difficult, guess what they are? They're difficult. So don't put a label on things if you don't have to. If you can, be free of labeling something. That, oh, this is going to be hard, or this is going to be chaotic, or this is going to be this, or this is going to be that. You don't know until you're there, and you may have skills that can get you through it. But I know one thing, if and when you can, if and when you can, please remember that when you're in chaos, it's okay to slow down for a minute. There's times when I'm walking from one room to another, like, doing yesterday or Monday, I guess it was, that, it took me, I had things moving from my spiritual room into my front room, my things moving from a bedroom down to my front room going up into a bedroom. It's like there was this everything, but and there was one thing after another that I needed to do. But I know that, sometimes if you can, when you are having these ideas, let's say if you're moving or when you're doing things like that, that it's almost easier to let your brain or your guidance system pull you to what you need to do. So you may dance from one thing to another, but the one thing that I try to do is that, like, when I had a pile of old pictures and I have a place up there. I said, finish what you're starting. Finish what you're starting. And so what I did is that I put away those pictures. So they're not just always hanging around. Even though I have other things I need to put away because I don't have time to do that because it's my husband's birthday today, that, I didn't have time to put everything away, but I know that I've got it down to one, two, three, four kind of negotiations where I had at least 12 as of yesterday afternoon. So 12 places that I had put things, because I had to break down altars, I had to break down these different things, pictures that, are going to go up or they're not going to go up because I wasn't going to put everything back because the whole room's energy changed. And so going into this, that, when we're in this moment of application of doing things, that remembering that, please don't label. Please remember to take a break when you can. And it doesn't have to be long. Sometimes I go into ADHD freeze, right? It's like it's overwhelming for my brain to do something unless I walk away from it. Give my brain a chance to think about it. Give my moments a chance to think. Give myself a chance to think about something. And then I come back and do it. Or I'll walk by it, do something else. That something else triggers the thing I was struggling with into interaction. And so when you're in that interaction piece and when you're in that story of things, sometimes you have to do these different processes to be able to negotiate through chaos. And so when we label something, that's going to put extra energy onto something. When we get on the treadmill, that gets us into expectations and story. When we are in the moment of, I have to get this done on a time schedule, yeah, that's a good thing to have time schedule sometimes. But at the same time, though, if we can, try to know that, like, I knew that I had to get things done. And so I may not have taken so much time in the laying in bed or doing things that I would give myself, like maybe one game to play, and then I told myself I have to get back up. So I put time limits on myself to be able to negotiate coming forward. And we have time limits on things. We have to stop them when we're motivated, especially when we have family and we need to get dinner done. But sometimes we can negotiate just coming to a place where we can slow down. Like, I wanted to shampoo the carpets all the way through the house. I just had time to do the front room. So, break things up into pieces if you can. Sometimes when we're so overwhelmed in our minds, because of the chaos, when we're so overwhelmed with realities, that sometimes we have to break it down into pieces. Like, I'm just going to deal with this basket. Where does this basket go? Not everything has a home to go to. Okay, so then I will have another basket, those things that don't have a home to. So you just keep, and then you end up with one basket that nothing has a home. And then that's the home that maybe it's time for things to go away. Sometimes we can't make the decision what needs to stay and what needs to go because we're not in that moment of that transition yet, but things have to go. And then, like yesterday, I had a girlfriend that I helped her move a little bit, and I brought things to my house because she didn't have enough room. So that helped with her chaos, is that I came in and assisted her and brought things to my house. Well, what I did was I asked her and I said, "So, since you're in town today, because she moved a little bit, about a half an hour, 45 minutes away, that, hey, since you're in town today, hey, do you want to stop by and maybe help me with my spiritual room?" Because I was kind of in a blockage with my spiritual room. I knew that something needed to change and I didn't know. And she's really good at listening to the Fae. I am too, but I was too close. I was too much. My brain was like in overload. And so, you know what she did? She listened to the Fae. So I had on this one table, I had all my star beings. They represent star beings, which are the star, the Fae of the universe, in my understanding. And then I have the fairies. So I'm going to move and I'm going to show you what ended up happening here. So the table here, there's a table here, and that used to be over in this other area, but that's all the Fae. They want to be by the window. Of course, they want to be down here with my other fairies, which are the star beings of this planet, of Earth, right? And I went, okay, talk about chaos. Fae, star beings, and um and all that going together, and oh my gosh, I had to actually leave the room. There was so much, they were having so much fun. Have you ever been in a group of kids that wanted to play? That was them. And actually, you know what happened? This whole area lit up. I mean, it was bright. It was bright. And I was like, okay, guys, I'll move you together, but you have to be nice to me. You have to let me do my shows. You have to let me do my readings. You have to let me do. So you have to tone down. I'll let you play, but remember, you can go outside and play too. So I was talking with them, and they've been, they just needed a little bit of time to transition. But oh my gosh, I've been going through so much transition, and I actually had a session with my friend, and he helped me break through quite a bit of what I was needing to break through, and it was so nice, and I'm so grateful for you, you know, and Ken Norton of Radical Healing. He does a great job with going down deep into things, and he does a lot of the work I do. He just does it differently. But it was nice because I needed somebody to do the work I do. In digging down deep and getting into those blockages that I have. And I knew that there was a blockage, but I didn't have the language, and he helped me with some language. And so with that I had done a big transition Monday morning. Or was it Tuesday morning? It was Monday morning. Big transition, and then having the Fae come together last night. It was kind of interesting to have that. My body was absorbing and transitioning, and that's the thing is that when we get news of something, that's one thing that I want people to know is that when we get news of something, like I've known a couple people, or witnessing a couple people in videos and different things. Like today, we just found out Rick's old boss passed away today. That adds in a chaos, that adds in a story, that adds in you go to the family. I'm sad that the family has to go through this. And though there's these moments where we're just getting information from left and right to left. And like today, I didn't even turn on music because of the fact that I needed no more stimulation. And so sometimes when we're riding on something, when we're riding on this energy field of understanding, and riding on this energy thing, that sometimes we add on extra stimulation to keep us up here, when actually we need to get other things calmer, other things understanding. And so like TVs and music and stuff like that, that can be an extra stimulant. And so be careful of your stimulants that you're putting in. So like for me, I made sure I was eating a lot of protein when I was going through a lot of changes. I was trying to stay off the sugars. I was trying to stay off of nibbling. I was trying to eat better. So my body was able to process things, stay more centered and grounded, because of the fact that, trying to negotiate something. If you don't notice, have you noticed the energy shifting in this window? I don't know if it's my camera or what, because I'm not going in and out of it. But it's kind of interesting how this window has been shifting its energy. Hmm, I wonder if it's them, right? I don't know if you noticed, but I was noticing that. But it's like that's the thing about life is that we have these extra things that happen to us and happen for us. That it's really interesting how you know energy shifts, and energy is energy. And when you add more energy into things, when you add more energy into the realities, when you add more stimulation into something, it's very much amazing how our realities go for it. And I know like most everybody has a form of ADHD. Okay, there's very few that don't. And most of them are more Libran type of energies, or the grounded, the earth energies, the Tauruses and that kind of stuff. That, it's like, so it- whew, talk about, one thing after another. And I don't know how many times I said, okay, where am I? What am I doing? And that gives my brain a chance to catch up. Okay, where am I? What am I doing? What did I need to grab? Walked into the place, walked back out. I didn't tell myself, why didn't I think about it? Why didn't I think about it? Because I didn't want to talk negative about myself. I didn't want to talk lack of inspiration about myself, right? Because it doesn't matter if I'm getting things 100% at this time, because they're going to come together. And that's the thing, is that people forget that life is a journey. And there's peaks of chaos, and there's lulls of quietness. And so when things kind of come up to a peak, I know that things will soon get to a quieter-ness. And when things get to a quieter-ness, that I usually know that that's my time to rest before another peak goes up. Like I had a little bit of quietness this earlier in the summer, and that was a blessing for me to be able to say, okay, I'm processing what's going to come to me, because I know things are going to be busy. And now next week, I'm going to be starting my fall job, which I'm grateful for, is that I work at an elementary school, and I do support kids with dyslexia and mindsets. And then just keeps me in reality. It keeps me, you get to really read on where life is when you're working in an elementary school. Kids don't lie about the energies. And so going into this, um that I love to be there for that reason. If anything, it keeps me on the scale of what is happening, so that I can assist the people in my sessions. Because when I know what's going on in the realities around me, then it helps me in their realities, because most everybody that I'm with are in the realities. I don't want to be cooped up in my house and then trying to tell people, how to negotiate life if I'm not negotiating life myself. So, how can I assist you? In the comments, please put something out there. What is your struggle with chaos? What is your interaction with chaos that you are personally negotiating? And maybe I can help you out here, because this is going to be a little bit of a shorter show, because it is my husband's birthday. So I'm going to need to go quicker than not here. So I'm not going to be channeling, but I'll pull a couple of oracle cards towards the end here, and that will be at the 30 mark, somewhere in there, because I need to leave here in the next probably 15 minutes. That, what is it, something that you are applicationally trying to be with right now that is chaotic in your mind? Because I want you to know that if you are in chaos, the most important thing is that you stay in the now. If you know something big is going to happen, if you know that life is happening, the best thing you can do is stay in the now. So like when I was taking off the wallpaper, I knew that this big job was in front of me, but I was on the wallpaper. I wasn't on the primer. I really didn't pick, I had an idea of picking colors, but I didn't really want to go out and get the paint yet until the wallpaper was off, because I needed the room to rest. Sometimes we have to let things rest a little bit in order to let it know what we need to do next. So remembering that life is a journey, and if we can be in the moment more, when we can be in the application of where we're at, in the now. I am packing this box right now. I am doing what I'm doing right now. And many times when things are moving, you got, like when we were having the garage sale, I have one friend that basically is likes to be in control of things. And so people would say, "Hey, do you want it over here? Hey, do you want it over there?" And she finally said, "You make the decision," which I was so proud of her for, because we can't get overwhelmed with people coming to us, people coming at us. And it's not as easy when that happens. And so, like for me at school, I tried to tell the new hires that, hey, I've been trying to negotiate this, and I didn't want to go to the secretaries yet, because talk about chaos, the secretaries at our school. So I said, there's no stupid questions for me. So I just discuss, Deanna, thank you. Dina, thank you. I discussed the same thing with my DR. She immediately put me on antidepressants. And your doctor, and I get that. And my husband was saying, Natasha, you're having these blank moments. Like, for me to start dinner at a certain time has never been my go-to. I love him. um Food's not too important to me, and so for me to think about dinner at 5 o'clock, I have to do that. And so, it's one thing that, I love the fact, Dina, that you found something that works for you. And remembering that life is that. I'm one that I do not choose to do that. I went through, 1 year was my mom getting diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. I was pregnant while she's getting diagnosed. Had a baby, already had a 4-year-old. Husband changed jobs, sold 3 houses in 1 year, moved to this house. Just things after another, one thing after another. And people always said, didn't you take anything? What, you didn't drink? What, you didn't? No, I went through it. I don't like taking things. They don't act right on with my body. Like, if I take one ibuprofen, I feel it. I'm a less is more person. So I appreciate your journey with those, and I'm hoping they do help you, because it's not easy for people to go through things, and not everybody's the same person. So, like my husband saying, you need to, hi Paula, that you need something. Well, we don't always, I don't personally think I need something, but yet I know that I'm going to take more of my vitamins. I've been upping my vitamins. I've been, trying to, talk with my brain. I've been trying to talk with my emotions. I've been, giving myself time. My time, it's very important to give yourself time to to integrate what is happening in your life. And when you're in grief, when you're in a story of things happening, and oh my gosh, my friend, now that I feel, their family, who just passed away today, that it was Rick's old boss, for those that just came in, that, and this family members have been, I know them well enough that because our family interacted for a good 10 years, that and our kids went to school at the same time, the daughter, and everything like that, that now can you imagine the chaos that is in their life, right? Because there's so many emotions in that, and grief is something that, wow, it's a ride. It's a ride, and it's a journey, and it's never ending. It's a journey that's never ending, even though things get a little bit more negotiable as you move into it, but it's not something that's easy. And so, coming into this, when you are in chaos, when you're in this journey of things happening to another, the way self-talk is so vital. Giving yourself a moment to stop and breathe. Like, one of my friends that were in the garage sale today, she was saying, "Oh, I need my union break." Right? She would say, "I need my union break." So she'd go off and talk. She wouldn't keep going at it and going at it and going at it, 'cause she knew that her brain needed a little bit of integration time. Hallelujah for her. That's her skill. And so we have to take on our own understanding and our own journey to really realize that, we're our brains and our emotions and our stories are all so individual. Find a way for you to negotiate things, but remembering self-talk, giving yourself moments to think, letting your brain, sometimes if you have a chance, like for me, putting things back. I didn't finish a project until it was done because it needed the evolution of one thing comes to another. Like I'd pick up something, oh, you want to go there, then something would be where I put it, and then it didn't want to be there, so I'd move it to the place it wanted to go. So sometimes things wanted to change over. So, we all have these moments where things are happening. Just like today, my girlfriend helped me move things in the spiritual room, and it wasn't quite done, and I knew it wasn't. And so with that, like I had my wolf on my green chair here, right? I had my wolf there. But with the new story over here with the Fae, it was too much. I had to find a new place for my wolf now. So, things have to sometimes wait to be put on. So give yourself time. Give yourself good credit for where you're at, remembering that life is a journey, and remember that as you're in the middle of chaos, that it is just a peak of life. It's not forever. And if you have a job that is high maintenance, if you have a life that is high maintenance and always going, that's where you need to have healthy boundaries. Take your lunch. Take a break if you can. Remembering to take a breath before you walk in, remembering to take a breath when you walk out. Remember not to take it home. It's like you do what you can do. So get those skills that really can help you through this. And remembering that, it's like if you know that you want to do something like change a job or do this, yes, there's anxiety. Yes, there's a moment. Yes, there's things happening. Like I was on a phone with somebody earlier, right before the show, that she's been talking about changing her job at school. And here there's a job that popped up, and I called her up and said, hey, there's an application now. Do you want to do it? And she jumped on it, and I supported her through it. Because this is anxiety here. Yeah, it is. But at the same time, though, that's where we're at with our life is that sometimes we have to push through, but gently keep it going. Like I was saying, she was like, oh God, I got to do this now, another page of this. I said, yep. The long story around the short block, right? That long story around the short block. We're all about, where can we go with this? Remembering that every step makes a difference. So if you can, stay in the moment where you're at. Because things only get more chaotic if you have to think a lot more about the future, right? Stay where you're at. So I'm going to pull an oracle card because I'm going to have to get going here. And I want to get done here. So I'm going to pull, let's pull, you know what? These cards have been talking to me. The vision of the soul, the vision of the soul. And it's by Kim Dreyer. Okay. And I'm going to pull one card or not. And I'm going to read what these cards, I'm not in tune, but aren't they beautiful cards? They are just like beautiful cards. So those that are listening to a podcast, I apologize. You can go to my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter IC, to see what I pull and what the card is. Okay. Dragons can go over here. Sorry, guys. Today's one of those special days. I want to include my husband, even though he might be taking a nap right now, but... Okay, what do you, universe, what would you, see? Nothing was happening, right? And so what did I do? I wanted to center myself. Universe, what would you like everyone to know at this time? What is the information that you would like them to know? Woo. Okay. Crown chakra. Isn't that pretty? Crown chakra. So let me go here. Third eye, heart chakra, solar plex. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Crown chakra. Okay. So crown chakra. White and violet is the color. Element is ether. Geometry is sphere. Key words: alchemy, divinity, focus, creativity, challenge. Indecisive, lack of joy, melancholy, frustration, powerless, and flighty. New aspects: divinity, God's self. You are being of light, which also encompasses the shadow aspects of the light expose. Great wisdom and guidance lies within the shadows. Don't fear them or discard them. You are able to manifest great miracles in your life and the world when you acknowledge the divine self and recognize the immortality and the integral part of play in the cycle of life on Earth and its cosmos. The transformation of your inner and outer worlds comes from the divine knowledge that you are one with the source. Carry the alchemy codes to co-create with the universe. And the alchemy codes, that's the look right there. So isn't that interesting? So the key words are alchemy, divinity, focus, and creativity. The challenge: indecisive. Isn't that part of chaos? Lack of joy. Isn't that part of chaos? Melancholy. Isn't that kind of where you just kind of get into no man's land? Frustration. Why aren't I doing better? Powerless. God, I can't get this done. And flightiness. Oh, I got to get here. I got to go there. I got to get this. I got to get that. I got to get. Isn't that part of change? But that's the thing is that, sometimes we got to become more joyful in where we're at. We got to be more where we're at. So the new aspects is divinity and self, God's self. So remember, we're part of this reality. And every time that you work in the shadows, every time you get that self look and know that this is part of change, this is part of where I'm at. Change is not always easy. There's a lot of grief in change. There's a lot of stories in change. Matter of fact, some of those pictures that that I had up, I'm missing them being up. I got to find another place for them, but I don't know where that goes. So time will happen. And that's the thing is that's one thing that I really realized when I was going through a lot of this change, that my eyes had to get used to something different. I had to let those walls sit silent for a little while to see what it is or get somebody else's perspective, right? Because my eyes wanted to see certain things at that place, but it didn't work anymore. It didn't work anymore. So if you can, remembering that, when we're working with something, and this was the crown chakra, so the white and violet, ether, the sphere, words are alchemy, divinity, focus, creativity. Challenges are indecisive, lack of joy, melancholy, frustration, powerless, and fertility. So we got to remember, we are part of light. We are part of the story. We're part of the energy field. We're part of what we are. And isn't that beautiful? Okay, there's another card that wants to come. And actually, it's the dragons. I know, actually, it's the gentle creatures. The gentle creatures want to come. So I'm going to read one more card. Gentle creatures want to come. So the crown chakra. So there's something more that you want to say, universe. What is it that you want to say? What do you want to help us with here? That's where we're at in this world right now. Are you one of it? Let's see. Woo! Okay. So groove and quit. Groove and quit are the two cards. So quit came out first, or yeah, quit. I got to make sure I'm reading right. Quit. Okay. Okay, so there are times when you have to walk away. Call it quits when you have truly given your all to something, but have you gotten nothing in return? This is an imbalance that you should not maintain. Look to those who are with you, not those who fly away. Your true friends will point out when you have been throwing the tiny bucket on a raging flame. Quitting is sometimes the correct path, especially when you are the only one fighting. It can be a place where you can recognize that your effort will be best put elsewhere. Martyring yourself for a cause is one thing. Flinging yourself into the fire alone is another. Pull back to regroup is definitely something you need to consider. Perhaps you can save someone else later. But for now, you must quit trying to be all things to others to simply focus on saving self. Throwing in the towel isn't always a bad thing. Well, ain't that the story when you're in the midst of a lot of change, when you're in the midst of a lot of things, that sometimes you can't be all to everybody, right? You can't be all to everybody, but be all to what you need to be to negotiate this. Because it is time to get in the groove. Get in the groove. Gotta find the right page here. One more. Groove. I love these gentle creatures. I like cute cards. Find your groove. Shake your tushy. Grab some crazy friends who will dance with you, even if there is no music. Here are gentle creatures puts the needle on the vinyl. Ants wave four limbs in anticipation of the song to come. Whatever your song is, move to it. Car dance, chair dance, wherever your movement is, can manage it is called for here. You are being asked to break out of your routine and take a moment to wiggle wildly. When you let go with abandon, our hearts are free to sing as loud as they like. So turn it up. Now is the moment you've been waiting for. Let the whole world see how you can bust the move as you choreograph a whole set of steps in your brilliant life. Dance to the music. It's time to get down and get groovy. So with that, as we talked, when we're working with the higher powers and when we're working with life, sometimes we got to say, I can't do it. I'm not going to do all of this, right? I'm not going to do all of this. But yet at the same time, like some of the lower part of the vibration for the crown chakra being overwhelmed was lack of joy. Find the joy, right? I'm Natasha Venter. Thank you for being here. I'm going to end this a little early. It's my husband's birthday. I'm wanting to spend some time with him today. It's been a good day. Enjoy your life. And remember, life is going to be chaotic sometimes. Sometimes it's not. But remembering that all we can do is our better in the moment. Keep your language better for yourself. Remember, it's okay to take a moment to breathe. Go to the bathroom if you need to. Take a break. Get out of the chaos for a moment. Let your brain catch up, integrate. and remembering that it is a journey. And like sometimes when we're playing a video game, right? That sometimes, or a game, sometimes it says hard level. It doesn't always have to be hard because it's the mindset. Don't think it's going to rain before it's going to rain, right? Don't think it's going to be cold or hot before it's hot. Be in the now. Practice being in the now because that will help you negotiate your story. Because we all are in the midst of big changes right now, and chaos comes with change. Nothing ends the way we want it. Nothing begins the way we want it. But we can get a lot of it by just moving with it. When we walk with change, change walks with us. I so appreciate who you are, and thank you everyone for being here. May the blessings of love be with you, and may the grace of being be with you too, as that was the card last week, was grace, right? Thank you. You more than ever enjoy your life, and blessings everyone. Bye now. Thank you for being here. Going to be here next Friday or next Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. Sorry, Regan couldn't be here. He had some preview, so he's going to wait until next month of September. So we'll talk to you later. Bye now. Enjoy your life. And remember to breathe. Oh, gotta click the right number.